Hey, Benny, welcome to the guild.
All right. What an intro. What an intro. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that from Nashville. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Would you be able to verify if you can see my screen?
Yes, sir. If you could just put a full screen, that'd be awesome. Yep.
All right. I sure will, sir. Well, thank you, Joe. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you guys joining the call. I'm here in the state of Maryland, United States. My name is Benny Fakish. For those of you guys that don't know me, I'm a QA consultant, basically a software tester at QAlified. We're a software testing company. So before we get things started, just want to be transparent. And I think Joe mentioned that I'm not here as a AI guru. I'm not even close to that. I don't know all the answer about artificial intelligence testing. So as you all know, AI is evolving ridiculously fast. As many of you guys know, I'm actually learning every day, just like you guys. And I do not have all the answer. I definitely try my best to answer most of your questions. And if you don't have the answer, a solid answer to your question, we'll reach back to you guys. We have your contact information through the registrations and we actually answer the questions. But having said that, I want you guys to be interactive, meaning that if you guys have any opinion, if you have any insight, any nuance, if you guys are also having a tool just like this or practicing, something like that, any disagreements, of course, I would like a thumbs up. Great job, Benny. Awesome. I like all those compliments, don't get me wrong. But if you have any disagreement, please put that on the question. We would love to hear from you guys. So I want this to be a collaborative session rather than me talking, you guys listening, and that'll be it.
Benny, one quick thing. Sorry,
yes.
This is just a pet peeve. If you could just click on that little hide link in the middle of this screen.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
I'm pretty sure like half the people have that pet peeve. All right. Thank you, Joe. All right. So what we do in QAlified, we focus on software testing, all kinds of testing, functional automation, performance, API security, all that good stuff. Now, what happens in the past year and two, we saw a big shift in how AI is being integrated into everything. You open a pet, I don't know, whatever, a supply store, to your bank, to your health insurance. You see always a chatbot, little AI assistant with a cute name, Jessica, Alexa, and Mail, whatever. They're trying to help you. Some of them are great. Some of them, we love them. We use ChatGPT and Gemini every day. Some of the chatbot and AI assistant that implemented to some of the systems are great. Some of them, well, not so great, and they might suck. And we don't like that. And we rather go on the phone and call and say representative 50 times in order to talk with someone. So if you have a branding or if you have a company that use that AI assistant, is it actually works? Is it actually being tested? We know traditional testing is not really gonna work. There is no pass and fail. The answers are, well, good enough. So the functionality is there. When you ask a question, the answer is gonna be there. But is that good enough answer? And what is a good enough answer? Right? We don't know. Like everybody has an opinion. It's like, that's a solid answer. And somebody else is like, no, that's a horrible answer. Is it accurate? Is it matching your functional requirement? Is it safe? Is that secure? Is it aligned with your brand? And who should set these, standards? So you do have AI, but the question is it really working? So that is the main question. We cannot use traditional testing that, this is the answer and this is the expected result and this is the result that we're getting. Match, pass, not match, fails. It's not going to work. So I did actually host a webinar on importance of AI in testing, which you guys can check it on YouTube. I'm not going to talk about that. This one is going to be a lot more exciting. I'm actually really excited to learn about this tool. And it's a lot more practical and in-depth. So I'm actually going to give you guys a demo. And you guys are about to see the tool that we developed called ArtificialQA. So the tool is basically designed to test AI system like chatbot AI system using AI-based evaluator, which you're about to see how the evaluator works. So instead of guessing manually, the output is correct or not, you can actually measure things like accuracy, tone, security, and so on and so forth. So you basically, based on the standards that you set, you find out if your AI is working or not. Now, without talking more, I would like to go ahead and get into the tool. And I believe, Joe, you can, you guys can see my screen. You can put a thumbs up, or just Joe, you can say that you can see the tool. All right,
totally.
Awesome. Cool. So what we see right here is a login page. So I just want to use my user and password. Now, if you guys want, we can just provide you guys, once you reach out to us, we can give you more in-depth a demo of the tool. Today is just going to be a little happy path of what the tool is capable of. But if you guys are very interested on what are the capabilities of this tool, you can just reach out to us and we'll be happy to give you more in-depth demo. I'm going to log in. So just like every other tools that you log in, you see a lot of bells and whistles and all the pizzazz that I had a bunch of practices. Obviously, just checking this. You see a lot of pass and fail. You come down here, you see analysis, like which one passed, which one fails. This is going to be your dashboard. Now, it depends on the project that you have. You can see your project. If you guys have multiple projects, obviously, you can just select and pick the right projects. And you'll be able to test your AI assistant. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to run a whole automation suite or something. I just want to manually create one test case. I'm positive most of you guys are joining this webinar are testers, but for some of you guys are not testers, test case is like the smallest part of a test plan. Right? A test plan is more like a blueprint of what we're going to do in testing. And then it's going to be on test suits. We have scenarios, we have test cases, and every test case have multiple steps. And we execute those steps and making sure that the system works or not. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to test design here, and I'm going to create a test case today. And this is going to be a financial institution. So just like some of you guys, I'm here in the US, we have Capital One, Bank of America, or, loan company or any other financial institution. We're connecting with the bank and testing their chatbot. So I'm going to come here to my tests. And as you see, I already have a bunch of test cases here. I'm not going to go and execute them maybe later, but I want to go from scratch. Now, some of you guys on the call are like, okay, Benny, I have 500 test cases. And I understand that's the normal way. That's why we have these options here, import Excel, JSON file, or we have another button here, expert. Meaning if you're using actually Jira, if you're using ALM, if you're using Bugzilla, if you're using other tool that you have a bunch of test cases, you can actually export them here and execute them with this tool. Isn't that awesome? You can say, yes, it is. Now let's create a new test case, right? So just like any other test case management that you use is pretty standard. Like most of them, like you have a title, you have like input, description, and all that good stuff. Here we have an option that is a little different. We have simple Q&A, which I'm going to go through that. But we also have conversational. That means I have multiple question and multiple answer and test that. That's another items here. Now, title, it could be like, I'm going to say demo checking account, right? And category, we can put checking account billing. I'm not going to put anything. We have industry like e-commerce, healthcare. I just want to keep it a general for right now for the sake of demo, medium, large. We just want to keep it. Now, a lot of them had severity and priority. We have difficulty here. Language, since the company is Uruguay, so we default in Spanish, but for the sake of this demo, I'm going to put it in English. I'm going to put tap. So what I'm going to do is just want to ask questions like, what is, let's say, the minimum amount of money I need to open a checking account? Simple question you ask, and I would say this is going to be the answer that I'm expecting. So you can, we can say, you can check our website and select checking account. Apologize for the misspelling. My grammar is off. I apologize in advance. So this is an important agent answer. Now, of course, the question is going to pop up like how are we going to test a lot of these questions and answers. We will get into that later during the demo. There are so many different ways you can do that. But for now, I just want to have one question and one answer to get to the point that how we execute and evaluate, most importantly, this test case. So I created my test case here, call it demo checking account. I'm going to create my test case, create it, done. Now, I'm going to put that on a test suite. Obviously, every test suite have multiple test cases, but for the sake of this, we have one test case in test suite. So demo checking account. And I can add that test case that I created, right, in that test suite. So I'm going to add that. So this right here, demo checking account. And I'm going to have a test plan, obviously, for this. And I'm going to call it demo checking account. And I created, which is right here. I'm going to add the test suite. Bear with me. This is not the most exciting part. And now we have a test plan right here. So what do I have in my test plan? I have this test suite demo checking account. And what does it have is the user asking what is the minimum amount of money I need to open a checking account. And this is expected result. Now, this is not a perfect answer. Obviously, I know that. I just want, for the sake of demo, I put this one here. But we want to execute this and then evaluate our answer. So I'm going to mark this as ready. And I'm going to execute that. So the execution is going to happen through API. We actually recommend that if you have the endpoint to just run that query through the API, but it's possible that we can actually help you guys through the GUI side to do the same thing. But we're going to connect to the API and we got to start the execution. So it's going to execute that. That means that we just want to go to that bank, ask that questions, and get the answer, which you saw that in a matter of a couple of seconds, we got that. So, all right. So the minimum required open checking account, ArtificialQA's bank is $100. The diesel, blah, 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 additional requirement. Please let me know. All right. So the agent answer is a lot better. Now we're going to see if this is a fail or this is a pass. Now, so far, Joe, do we have any questions so far? It should be straightforward, but sometimes.
Right now,
oh, right.
See. 1 second. I'm just checking here. No questions as of now. They're just trying to take it all in. Obviously, they want to know, is this open source or free? Is the only question I see so far.
Great question. Free, we actually, since we just actually developed this tool and it's out in the market, for people that are new, we provide them with a free account, meaning that they have, well, obviously it's not like a premium version, but they're able to use this tool to test their AI assistant for free. So you can just reach out to us. We give you a demo, we give you an access, so we can do that. But if you want more test cases, more in depth, more testing, then that will be like packages that we provide you. But definitely possible to get a free access to this tool.
Very cool.
Yep, it is. I didn't actually. I just realized that. So, so we see that user and agent. Expected is this, and the agent responding like that. This is the execution. Now, me as a tester, I'm gonna be like, I mean, it's sort of right. I don't know if, because maybe you gotta click on the checking account. We probably don't want to provide this information. Is that a fail because it's not exactly matching this? So many ways we can look at this, so many different angles, right? And that's why we have a button here, evaluate, right? So when I click on this evaluate button here, wow, look at this, what pops up? We see all kinds of agents. What does those agents mean? That meaning that I can look at this question and answer in different ways, different perspectives, right? So I'm going to deselect all because we're not going to use all of them. I just want to, for demo, I just want to pick some of them. For example, comparison, right? That's a simple one, comparison. I want to compare this answer to that answer. And we see here a button here that has 1 and it goes all the way to 0. So this is the weight, right? What that means is 0 is the lowest importance and 1 is the highest importance. So depends on our tool, depends on our branding, and depends on our requirements. We will sit down and actually, and obviously we talk with our clients, we can change that number. We have comparison here. I would check completeness. I would say consciousness. How about formality? I'm going to pick that one too. Bias, I'm not going to do that one. This one. Tone, let's put that and let's just bring it down to like 0.8, right? So empathy, again, this is a financial institution. Think about it. If there is an insurance company and you got into a car accident, right? You would like to add this because you would like the person that is using that AI tool get an answer, an empathetic answer. What it means is like, I just got into a car accident. I want an agent to tell me, I'm really sorry about hearing that. Do you want me to connect you with a person, talk with? But since it's just a financial institution and vast majority of the questions are basic question and answer, I'm not going to pick that one.
That's
Security
cool.
is super important, right? We cannot mess around with healthcare and financial institutions. So I just want to keep that as one because it's not going to leak any information. Error handling, I'm going to pick a few more. Fluency, I don't know, hallucination. I just want to point. And language, obviously, I want it to be the same language. And since I picked that one, now I'm going to start the evaluation, right? So I'm going to click on this one and start evaluation. You will be surprised. I'm always surprised anytime I run this. Is this going to be a pass or fail? It really depends on where you put your standards. There is no 0 or 1 pass or fail. Depends on a lot of criteria that the standards that you set at the beginning, the answer might be different. So we just want to see the result in a few seconds. And this is going to be, since the question might come up, there will be automated. We have the capability of automation, meaning that you can just set a time and run, let's say, 1,600 test cases. So you can just run those, set your agents, set your scoring, and at the end, you will see all the results. Let's see if sometimes we can see some of the progress. Let's look at it. All right. We see pass here, but look at that. We have hallucination at 60%. Everything else, the answer is complete, right? Now, some of you guys might be like, well, the answer didn't make that much sense when you compare that or stuff on it. So we have that option here. See what I did? Demo checking account, that's my test case. I can bring it here. And I might want to change some of these. I'm not going to change that, but I can show you what I can do. So for example, security say, I can bring it down to, let's say 50 and it'll be like, I don't know, test, security, whatever. I just want to put the reason and I would just add it to here, right? And you see that the score brought it down. So, and our passing is 70%. So let's say if I actually change that tone as well, like bring it down to like 40 because tone was not great. I don't know, whatever. I just want to change that one and it bring it down to 79%. So after running that, maybe a few manual testing, we can just set the bar a little different so we can understand each agent, how they actually perform and which one is important for us. If I go back, and let me give you guys another example. Like, I'm going to go to my test design. I might go here. I'm going to go to my HELOC. All right. So HELOC, for those of you guys who know, it's a home equity line of credit. So I don't recommend that. It's not a great idea. But what you do is essentially you get a reverse mortgage. Whatever equity you have on your property, you actually borrow against that. So what are the documents I need for applying for HELOC? And let me connect you with someone that can help you. Well, That's not the great answer, but is it pass or is it fail? Based on the criteria, right? I might execute this. And well, to apply for home equity line of credit that offers you could be a banker, typically valid government ID, you need income, you need proof of home ownership, all that good stuff. So the answer doesn't really match, but evaluation, we just want to see. So maybe we would just pick some of these ones. I'm going to deselect. Let's put some of these ones. This time I want to put empathy 2.6, 0.5, security 2, error handling, data accuracy, 0.4, escalation and language, and consistency. I'm going to put this at 0.6. And security is important for us. Again, it's a financial institution. Comparison, I want it to be, and I want to keep that. So I'm going to start the evaluation. It's going to take a little longer because now we have 11 agents. And you can pick more agents because when you talk with the bank, which is your client, sometimes they're like, well, we are very heavy on loan. So we want to make sure that you use all your agents, and our standards for loan is above 0.9. You're like, okay, so all your test cases relate to credit card, to HELOC, to personal loan, secure loan, all that good stuff is going to be, well, not good stuff. All the loan related is going to be above 0.9 because that's what your client wants. And let's see what the evaluation is going to be. Let me see if I can see progress. And it passed 100%. Escalation is 40%. Comparison, 0%, right? Everything else it's sort of high, right? And you come look at that and look at it as like, well, error handling and bias, I'm going to change these two. So again, you can just change these scoring, and based on that, you will be able to get a different score. And if you can see, this is kind of fainted right here. This is a line at 70%, right? Now, based on your college experience, we think like 70% is the pass. You get A, B, and C, but put that at 70%. You might also want to change that. You want to put it 50%. You might have an organization that working with, I don't know, let's say for those of you guys in the United States, Homeland Security or Department of Defense, now it's Department of War. They cannot make mistakes. That's going to be at 95%. So even that 0%, 81% is going to be a fail for them. So the reason here you see pass because we set the bar at 70%. So that can also change. And you guys, again, once you talk with your client, you'll figure out where is the bar for them. Now, I can run through a few more scenarios, but we actually close to 30 minutes. So I just want to see if you have any question.
We do have
Joe?
questions. A bunch coming in the chat. First one, they want to know, is this, what's the target? Is this a website? Are you testing a chat bot? What's the test target?
Yes. As I mentioned, this is a testing tool for AI assistant in the nutshell. So anything you see, a chatbot, AI assistant, ChatGPT, think of ChatGPT. Who's testing ChatGPT? I'm not testing it. I don't know. OpenAI is testing it. Google is testing Gemini. Of course, they're testing it. They're a solid AI assistant. But now we see those chatbot and AI assistants everywhere.
Right.
They don't have the testing capability, a lot of them. So we jump in and we develop this tool to help them test their chatbot.
Right. So in my, I have a chatbot trained on all my podcasts and content. So you'd use that to test something like that, correct? All these in-house kind of, gotcha. Cool.
Yes. And as I mentioned, we will just sit down with Joe and test your team like, what is important to you guys? Oh, and you guys are like, these are our agents. These are our values. This is Test Skills brand. And this is what we represent. And based on what you guys want, we set our agents and making sure that all the questions they're asking, they're getting a reasonable answers based on Test Skills standards.
Nice. Also, how is the accuracy of the answer measured? Does the response just have to contain keywords? I think you showed that there's a lot of other things you can do, but
the accuracy is actually one of the agents.
Gotcha.
If you actually go back and if we want to evaluate here, you can see, and we actually can add more. So we have comparison, completeness, formality, empathy, security, error handling, ambiguity, fluency, data accuracy. So that is one of them. As I mentioned, we can go from 0 to 1. So if that is a very important, you would just keep at a 1. And if it's not as important, we bring the weight down to 0.5.
Nice.
Great question.
All right. Another question. Text under comparison is in Spanish, I assume. Is that we can change language for each parameter?
You can. We both actually have Spanish, English. I believe they have multiple languages that in the setting we can just change. Yes.
All right. And Timothy wants to know, these test cases are evaluated once per prompt or multiple times?
You can actually, great question, Tim. I appreciate you asked that. So I believe you want to see like, you can, based on the releases you have, you can add it to your CI/CD pipeline. So the idea is to, anytime you run the regression test, you have multiple set of test cases. So we actually have that plugin or capability that you can run that automation script, and every time you get the answers, and you can export your answer and your results in a report format. Good question, Tim.
Last one, Benny, is this important because we can't just rely on pass fail anymore? Because it's AI, it's not deterministic. The results are always going to be different, or the response will be different. So therefore, we need these other types of checks to make sure that it's actually working as expected.
That is exactly what it is. If I understand your question, Zach, there is no pass and fail here. So sometimes you saw my answer, how different it was than the answer we got from the agent, right? And you're like, oh, this is a fail. But it actually did pass because of our standards. And sometimes you think, oh, this is going to be a pass, but it fails.
Right.
Because if you actually pick empathy only, let's imagine you just pick empathy and it's very important. My answer was very non-empathetic. Like it was like one line, right? So it really depends how you look at it. It's not like traditional pass and fail testing because we're testing an AI.
Gotcha. There's a few others coming in though, Benny. I don't know if you have time or you want to continue a little bit more before we take the other questions, but we have like 3 more that just came in.
Oh, we can go that. We can pass another 2-3 more minutes.
All right. So they're coming in a lot. But right for different languages. How are these agents in the tool validated? Do we need to train them on a specific domain?
We actually large language model. This tool is basically work as we're using AI for testing the AI. If I want to put it in a nutshell, that would be the best way to put it. But we have the capability of changing our parameters and our standards and setting the bar the way we want it to be pass and fail.
Okay. How do you minimize data leaks?
So that will be our security team. They'll work 24/7 to making sure that this data that you have is safe. And one of the things that one of our agent, if you're asking, that is security to making sure. And I mentioned that when you are evaluating one of these test cases, one of the parameters is security. Making sure that you can go from 0 to 1 depends on your institution, but the entity that you're working. You can pick the highest one, meaning that you don't want a single information data to be leaked.
Right. Can the tool be used offline at a client's premise, client location?
I believe so. We can have multiple environment. Depends on what you have. You can just connect that to your lower environment. Let's say dev environment or test environment. Doesn't have to be in production. And if you have that, it actually makes sense to do that. So we can just connect it to API or to GUI. We can just test that chatbot. Yes.
All right. The rest of the questions put in the Q&A. One last one. I know you're going to get a lot of, does it support this? Does it support that? So Kadar wants to know, does it support AI agents built for, say, SAP or Salesforce, Oracle applications?
Yes. Any application that has chatbot, AI assistant, backend support.
Cool, cool. Good.
Yes. All right. I'm not sure if I'm still sharing my screen. Any other question we're going to take?
Well, Timothy has a lot of questions. You showed how to apply a weight to accuracy. How does the accuracy agent determine the expected result to determine accuracy?
That's a good question, but that is generic. I would like to know more specific. If you can ask a more specific question. And Tim, if you can do me a favor on the chat, because I really like your first question. I noticed that probably you're a tester. I assume you are. Do me a favor, put your email address, Tim, so we can actually reach back to you, or just comment it on the video on YouTube that we're about to share, so we can actually reach back to you and answer all the questions. Or we can have, if you guys want, you can just hit us and we can have a separate demo and answer all those questions. We might want to even have people that develop this tool and other testers that are far more knowledge than I am, and they'll be able to answer those questions. Do me a favor, Tim, just put that, send us your email address. If you don't want to put it in the comments, if you don't feel like okay to do that, you can just go to info@QAlified.com. Or just you can, and then ping us your email and we can definitely answer the rest of the questions.
All right. So Rami, I can't see that far, says, I'm missing the point here. The main question of the webinar was how to measure correct in AI. I didn't get the answer. What I saw is configuration to change output, but still not answered. I think you did show it, but maybe a little clarification of what we saw. Benny?
Would you read the question again? I want to make sure I understand the question before I answer it.
Am I missing the point here? The main question of the webinar was how to measure correctly in AI. I didn't get that answer. What I saw is configurations to change output, but still not answered.
So we're not checking a functionality. The functionality of chatbot is not very difficult. You ask a question and they answer it, right? Any question you ask chatbot, without it at 100%, they're gonna give you a question. They're gonna give you an answer. What matters is if those answer make sense based on your organization's standards. Let's put it that way. And those standards are those variable. When we actually went through that with and show that in the test plan, right? So when we executed that, those are the variables that we were picking. These are the variables that you pick. So the pass and fails is very subjective. Like it really depends on you and what your clients want. You know, if I answered your question, but let me know if not, definitely we will reach back to you. Absolutely. With more details.
Cool. So ideally, everyone, if you could put your questions, if I didn't get to it, under the Q&A, because it gets lost under chat, and then I could put a full screen and Benny could see it. It might be easier that way as well. All right, someone also asked about task success. 1 second. Did the agent actually complete the goal? Tool use, did it choose the right tool and use it correctly? Reasoning flow, was its steps coherent and grounded? Conversation handling, did it preserve context across turns? So let me see if
so conversation handling, we just ask a simple question and answer. We can, however, have it conversational. So if I go back here to test design and test plan here, right? If I want to new case here, I can have it in conversational. So I can ask a question, and then answer, and then just keep going on and on. But I didn't do it that way. So I'll be another question and another answer. I just, for the sake of demo, I just kept it that simple Q&A. That was one of your questions. I didn't get the rest of them. There were like multiple questions in one.
Yeah, Nicholas, if you could put it under the Q&A tab and I can make it go live so we can actually see it on screen. Let me see if it's there yet.
I'm glad the questions are coming.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let me add it manually here. Give me 1 second. Actually, it might be too long for the the context of the window. Ultimately, he wants to know if the business value was realized with the agent in the workflow. So, Nicholas, like I said, if you could put the questions under the Q&A tab, I'll be able to show it
Yeah.
live.
And if folks, again, for those of you guys that missed that, if you're missing any questions or a question comes to your mind later, or you think that the answer that I'm giving, again, I'm not an AI expert or guru. If you think there's a question that I didn't quite answer that question, please reach back to us, info@qualified.com, ask your questions, and we reach back to you definitely, or we can actually give you another demo.
Someone also asked Benny, how does this work? Does the agent, does it call out to the agent? Is it like, do you have browsers in the cloud that runs the agent so you can run a multiple tests? How does that all work?
A great question. This is actually through API. So we have the endpoint and we run the query and we get the answer quickly, but we can do it through the front end as well.
How about token usage? A lot of people say they've been getting burned with token usage going up because they use it too much. How does this work?
I believe there's a way we can go around that, especially in lower environments, because we have picture capture, we have tokens, we have like um, double factor authentication method, all of that stuff makes sense to have them. But in lower environment, developers can take them out so we can just test just solo the chatbot and AI assistant. And once it works, you can implement all that security features in the production.
Excellent. Okay. Benny, another question that came in is there a way to export failing tests or all test results into a human readable file we can hand back to product team, SMEs that manage an agent's knowledge base?
That is an excellent question. And yes, you can see this button. I just happened to be here. We have import Excel. We have Jason, an expert. And as I mentioned, once you have, let's say using Jira X-Ray, right? Using Gherkins that you you have this criteria and this is the action and that will be the expected. So it's a readable, Gherkins is a readable, understandable language. You can have them export them here and execute them in this tool.
Cool.
Yep.
So, Benny, is there any more that you're going to be showing, or should I keep asking
That
questions?
that should be it. We can go through the polls if you like.
Yeah, let's do some polls. Thank you, everyone, for your participation in the polls so far. Let me make one go live here. All right. So the first poll is how are you currently validating your AI output? And so it looks like a majority of them is we don't have a formal process yet. I think this is going to
Yeah.
increase, especially with all the atomic agents, everything going on nowadays.
Yeah.
So is this what you're seeing as well? And this is why you probably created the solution?
Yeah, we don't have it. That's why there's a tool for it because we realize there's a need, and I hope the answer is high. Manual spot and checks internal team 35% automated. Okay, sounds good. We don't have a formal process. Only currently validating your AI outputs. Manual spot checks and internal team. We don't have a formal process.
Keep scrolling up,
Automated
back
testing
and forth.
scripts, stuff. Now, again, we did that manual testing here, guys, which there's only so much you can do with AI. How many questions you want to ask? You cannot think of all of that. We also have a feature, which I didn't go through that, which we can generate questions with AI. So you just give him some facts, frequently asked questions, or pull some questions from database. And that AI tool within that ArtificialQA can create you test cases. So for some of you guys that you have manual check, then you can actually increase drastically the number of test cases.
That's very cool. And Benny, that's available now, or is that coming down the pike?
No, it's available now.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Excellent.
Yep.
Next poll was what concerns you most about your AI systems in production? Hallucination. This doesn't surprise
See,
me, but I don't know. Data leaks and
yeah.
security, I think, would be high depending on where you know, the type of industry you're in. But yeah.
Engineers inconsistent or off brand tell. Yep, that is the biggest topic, like hallucination, like accuracy. Like um, a lot of times when you ask a question, even like tools that we all use, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, we realize it's like I asked something else. What is going on? That is number one. I expect the security to be higher, but well, we'll figure out down the road. That
Yeah,
is
right.
another issue.
And the last poll was how many AI powered tools or features does your organization currently have in production? 1 to 2.
1, 2, 3, 5. Still evaluating. More than 5. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah, that's good.
All right.
They're hip. All right, cool. So let's get to the other questions, Benny. How does artificial QA connect to the AI system I want to test? I think you said an API access.
Yes. We can do API and we can do it on the GUI side.
Nice. You answered this already. So this is about the settings. How do these percentages or configs are actually giving the correct answer? How do you know?
So there is, I mentioned that for now, we put the passing score at 70, right? So what we can do is we can change that to 50. We can just change it to 90.
Hmm.
It really depends on what do we want, what are the factors, what are the agents, what are the variables that are important for us. There is no pass and fail. That will be functionality. That will be more like traditional testing. Let's say you're testing a login functionality, right? You would like to enter your valid username, your valid password, click login, and be able to see the home screen. For testing a chatbot, yes, they'll answer you, but we're testing if the answer is compliance with our brand. Is it accurate? Is it how about hallucination? How about security? How about comparison? Are all of these based on standards that we put, based on passing rate that we put? So if I want to put in a casual language, we sort of kind of not. We're just making sure that that's a pass based on the standard that we define.
So Benny, do you think this is like a mind shift? Because it's not pass or fail. It's non-deterministic, so it's just confidence. So it's more like a
Yeah.
confidence score, like 98%. Like I don't know, you can't really get 100%, right? With
That's
some of this
exactly what you
testing.
said. You said mind shift. I
Right. Yeah.
love the term that you use. I should have put that in my PowerPoint. Mind shift, right? Because think about it. As a tester, I always said developer, hey developer, it failed.
Yeah.
I cannot log in. But right now, I have to tell developers, hey developers, this is kind of failed. And developers are like, hey Benny, what do you mean kind of failed? All right, let me share my screen. When it comes to data accuracy, we set it at 80%, we're at 75%. When it comes to empathetic answer, we put it at 82% or 85% pass, but we're at 50%, right? So now we're going to go on the development side of the house and correct those. So I can't just say in an email, this test case kind of failed.
Hmm.
Now we have metrics for showing them why it failed. Because if I say my chatbot answered this way, they're like, what is wrong with that? That's a good answer. That's a good answer to me. But now we say, no, our client wants this. And based on these numbers, it failed. So it's exactly what you said. It is a mind change.
Nicholas in the chat put up a good point. He said, think of clinical trials. It's a confidence score. Like in clinical trials, it's never 100%, right? It's always like a confidence score
Yeah.
and what you're comfortable
Yeah.
with based on your company's risk and the different, the different weights that you give for your particular test, customized.
Oh, good point, Nick. Wonder where Nick's calling from. You can put it in the chat.
Yeah. All right. More questions coming in. So let's see. So once again, this is I think it's a personal. How does artificial QA handle the fact that AI answers are different every time? How do you decide if a response is good enough when there's no single right answer? I guess it's based on your organization, right? What's risk to
Yeah,
you?
that is, you set up, Stephanie, great question. You set up the standard. And by you means you're talking with your clients. And based on the agents that we show actually on the demo, for example, they say data accuracy, security, and empathy is very important for us. We cannot miss these three. You set up those three at 90% when you evaluate. And if they fail, that will be something that you put a flag on it as a tester. Now, how development's gonna change that, how development's gonna fix it, that will be their problem. This webinar is about testing. So you basically think of it as functional requirement document that we have in traditional testing. Except instead of listing all the requirements, you're listing your values, what are important for you, and what should be the passing score, and we take it from there.
Nice. Okay. Next question is. Oh, why do I keep doing that? Sorry. Wrong button. So you answer this, is the tool free or open source? You said there's a free version, correct?
Yes, there is.
Excellent.
Anonymous.
Yeah. I think you may have answered this, but just in case.
Yeah.
Is there a way to iterate the questions multiple times in one session to ensure a concise response?
Put a question multiple times in one session to ensure concise response. You can do that as I didn't just go through that the demo, but the answer is yes.
Hey, you answered this. You answered this. You answered this. All right, here's a good one. Can you add this to your CI/CD pipelines?
Yes. So as I mentioned that, so most of you guys are asking that question. So it's designed for both scenario. You can use manually, which I did in the demo, and explore the design to test suite, but it also has API enables the integrating to that CI/CD pipeline. The idea is like anytime you have a release, every few months, every few weeks, you have a release. So you have your test cases in your regression suite, and you can just make tweaks that you want and then update the prompt or configurations and then run that regression test. Yes. Good question.
Excellent. How do you build the initial test suite? Do you need to write all expected answers manually, or does the tool help generate them? I think you said it. You have a way to generate tests, but what's the
Yes.
recommended flow?
Exactly. Great question, Stephanie. So under test suite, you can have multiple test cases and many test cases you want. You can upload them from Excel or other tools and write all the expected answers manually. For the sake of demo, I did that because I wanted to show it from scratch, the process that you can create one test case. However, we have a tool that I didn't go over that during the demo that created based on AI, we're using AI to also create the question and answer and test cases.
I think you answer this just in case we get it in the recording. They want to know about provisioning. And I just got rid of it by mistake. Let's go to the next question. How long does it typically take to go from zero to having a working AI validation process with ArtificialQA?
So it really depends on the system that you're working on, the complexity, but generally it's the first functional test suite that you can have it in the matter of hours. So based on the questions that you get from the database, based on frequently asked questions, facts, you can actually create your first test suite and start actually executing and evaluate that. So your clients should have an MVP maybe after a couple of days. Sort of a sample that, all right, where are we at? Is it good enough? Are we really bad or off? Or we have to work on it? Or we perfect? We just have to have a little bit of tweaks. But as you go through that, you can develop that. And it might take have a comprehensive test plan that you can run your regression. It might take a few weeks. Excuse me.
How are these formulas are using to calculate what are the formula that you're using to calculate these scores?
This is one of those questions that I don't know the answers. Our developers or people that actually use large language model know actually how they calculate these scores. But the score that we put for pass and fail is 70, just for the sake of demo. And as I mentioned that at the end, when you evaluate that, you're able to change those as well. So you can just change it to 50%, 20%, 90%. It depends on your standards and what your client wants.
All right. I know we usually don't talk pricing. But can this be customized for specific requirements? I don't know. You probably have a sales team.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I don't think I should talk about the pricing. Just to let you know that I already mentioned that multiple times. You can have a free access to the site. You will just reach out to us. We give you a demo. We give you free access so you can just play around and you can test your chatbot. But it depends on how complex it is. There will be pricing, and then our sales team will be able to help.
All right, this might be philosophical. We probably should call it evaluation and not testing, actually, right? I think it's still testing, but
you are absolutely right, and we all call it evaluation. That red button that I pressed was evaluation. And you're right, the title might be changed from testing to evaluation, but since we want all the testers to join, and this is traditionally it's been testing,
yep.
We use the word testing for our title of the webinar.
Can we configure more evaluation checkpoints? And do we always need to modify these parameters?
Yes, we can actually add more to it. For now, these are what we realized for most of the industries. These are the point of focus, but we definitely be able to add to them.
I think you're doing. It looked like you had a lot of AI agents. You must have a list somewhere. But what are the kinds of chatbots is possible? Like you do performance testing, negative and edge case testing, etc.
Well, now it's functional testing, both positive and negative testing. I don't think we can implement accessibility testing, performance testing at the moment. Most functional testing, API, and automation. I feel like an AI is asking those questions at this point now.
Nick wants to know, I was thinking, what if you had an MCP such that you can send your test in real time? They are executed using the system, documented for review later.
You can do that. I talked with our testers actually the other day, and she was explaining that, but the capability is there. But more details, you got to reach out, and we can actually answer that question more specifically on your need.
Okay, just a few more questions coming in here. So basically you're saying using the tool, we are measuring all different outputs based on measures, but it will not do any functional checks.
The functional check for the chatbot is you can go to the GUI side, ask a simple question, and see if it answers.
Right.
It will take you 5 seconds.
Yep.
So it's not a functional testing. And since we connected to API, you immediately see the result. It took like less than 2 seconds, you saw the result. So it's all about evaluation. Yes.
Once again, that goes with the mind shift. It's more than just
exactly. You summarized it perfectly.
Okay. Last question. Our chat's response are conversational and can offer different questions before answer is generated. How do you handle?
So for now, we have simple question and answer, or like multiple question and answer. These are all the features we have so far. And we're actually adding more features. And based on the application, we're able to add that features as well. Cool. That you have it in your chatbot.
All right, Benny, I think this is really cool. Everyone should definitely check it out under the Learn More tab. I think this is the direction we're going in with QA. So people should get their feet into it now, get their hands dirty right now to learn this, because I think everything's going this way, more evaluation rather than just functional. But Benny, any parting words of wisdom you want to leave the guild?
Just like I said at the beginning, nobody's expert. Even our AI expert in QAlified is still learning every day. Keep learning, keep sharing. please reach out to us, info@qualified.com. Again, as I said, we can just have a specific demo for you going through that tool. You'll be able to use that tool for free, and we can just help you understand it and apply it for your chatbot.
Love it. Thank you again, Benny. See you here next time.
All right.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you,
Awesome
guys.
stuff.